Two types of people know what I am: those who want to hire me and those who want to kill me. I was still determining the category of my newest customer. I peered unblinking at where he stood in the doorway of my Class C decade-old RV. My favorite newsboy cap angled low over my face, casting my eyes in shadow where I stood straight-backed in my velvet Italian cut with notched lapels. "Good morning," I said, but no, thank you. My new potential client hesitated, then spoke with a cautious English accent.
"I drove 2 hours through the mountains to reach you."
He glanced over his shoulder at the others queued outside my door, then back at me with a knowing tip with his head.
"You can't say no until you hear what I have to tell you."
He reached back, then shut the door with a click. My eyes narrowed at the presumption. My would-be customer was a clean-cut fellow with glasses and sulfur sideburns that always accompany the word distinguished. Not the sort you'd expect to find in a fortune teller's studio, but all sorts are interested in the arcane and the archaic. He wore a tie and seamlessly stitched vacuna wool suit. Now, though, alarm bells jangled in my head. The only people who dressed that well in a quaint little mountain village where divorce attorneys on lunch break, or the sorts of people in the know and trying to make an impression. And in these mountains, an impression came costly. My RV window displayed a mountain pass cradling a lake in the Wenatchee Forest Preserve of Washington State. The 2-million-acre preservation covered a greater space than Chicago, Los Angeles, New York City, and Washington, D.C. combined. It served as the most recent stop for my employer, the Amazing Bandini's traveling circus. Through the thin walls of the RV drifted the blare and buzz of circus barkers and milling patrons, accompanied by the scent of reheated caramel, salted dough, and matted animal fur laced with sweat. I studied him a moment longer. "Remove your shoes, then you may enter." The man looked perplexed, but with cautious movements he bent over, undid his suede penny loafers, and set them next to the door. He straightened, clearing his throat expectantly. I still felt a twinge of unease, but then puffed a breath. I wasn't exactly in the financial position to turn away potential customers of either variety. Besides, thank heavens, he was actually clean. I could almost detect the hint of soap. I beckoned him over, and we both settled at the circular table in my RV, all sidelong glances and rutted brows, like a couple of snuffling hounds interpreting the unspoken language of scent molecules and pheromones. I faced the window, which, like the rest of my mobile home, displayed the sort of cleanliness found only in the strictest of boot camps or prisons. My only friend, Preacher, suggests I have a phobia where dirt and germs are concerned. But I'd like to think I simply have a higher standard for hygiene than most. I guess it's like they say, you never quite leave your past behind you.
"Not exactly what I expected,"
said Sideburns, eyeing the place. I began to shrug, but caught myself. An uncouth gesture. I supposed Preacher was rubbing off on me. Instead, I dipped my head slowly and then settled straight-backed once more, folding my hands. "I get that a lot." He looked at me.
"You're not what I expected either."
"Oh?"
You're the palm reader, then?"
"The sign says fortune teller."
"Ah, well, I didn't see the sign. Your bodyguard was blocking it. Scary-looking gent, isn't he?"
I didn't like speaking ill of my friends, but I also knew better than to engage in needless correction. So I deflected. "Preacher is definitely a sight."